If you're looking for just another video to convince you that Warrior of Light is the best unit ever and he's the best tank ever and you absolutely have to have him, then you're going to be disappointed. That's not what I'm about to give you. This video is about giving you an objective, unbiased look at Warrior of Light's kit compared to some of the other tanks in the game, what he's viable for, what he's good at, what he excels at, and what the other tanks excel at, and how they are all viable in different ways and what their roles may be. Whereas in addition to that, if you're looking for somebody, so if you're looking for a video with a new perspective or a fresh take, then this may be exactly what you were looking for. Hello, everyone. My name is Norgoz, and welcome back to House Goes. I am the Warlord of the Visions, and I honor you all in my great hall. Yeah, so thank you very much for being here, guys. If you like the way we do content here, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, come back and see us again. And if you're feeling really froggy, hit that bell icon, get notified of new content as soon as it drops. You can also find us on Twitch Tuesday through Friday live. All right. So this video does assume you have a pretty general idea about what each of these kits do. They're all tanks that do various things alongside of that. And with that, we're going to talk about what makes each of them unique. We're going to start there, and then we're going to branch off from there, and then we'll do some builds as well, breaking down what they look like in their level 99 state with items and all that good stuff. So, number one, Engelbert. What is so great about Engelbert? Well, the main thing about Engelbert is that he has some of the best passive defense out of all these units. He does get Sword Guard, he does get Paladin Guard, so he's got really good counters in that regard. He also has some of the highest HP, sitting around over 6k, just about almost any way that you build him at the end. So he's the only one out of these three that get a death save. He gets a Mortal Spirit, and very few units get a Mortal Spirit if they're not a main job Paladin. There's a couple. Delita, which also comes out at the same time as Agrias, is more of an attack-based unit, but he gets Paladin sub-job, and he gets a death save, which is actually really, really cool to have on a unit that seems to be more, offense-oriented. So that was very cool. So, but that's the one thing that Engelbert has going for him, is that he has that. He also has really strong damage resistances. He's got 20 slashing, 5 piercing. Basically, all of his physical damage resistances are over 20 except for piercing. So that's really, really good. And he does have a shield to reduce physical damage taken for 50% for 3 hits. He has a really high AoE damage in the form of Saintly Cross, so he can deal a little bit of damage when he's surrounded. He can buff himself a lot of defense and spirit using Sentinel. So he's got a lot of really good things going for him in terms of like physical damage mitigation. Warrior of Light, the thing that makes his kit really, really good. And I kind of wish I would have led with this. The thing that makes his kit great, and the thing that makes him the hero that you have to have as a tank, is defense, spirit, or what people say you have to have him for. Is it 12 defense, 12 spirit for 3 turns, and it also increases hatred by 12 as well. It only costs 18 TP. That is his self buff, and it does a lot of really good things for you. So in a sense, that's pretty much it. That's his bread and butter. Without that, you take that away, he still is a good unit, but he's nowhere near as good without that. He does increase. He's got a great HP restore. Has a casting time. You can only use it once, but it's 60% HP in one shot. Whereas with the Saintly Wall with Engelbert, he can do that with himself and party members, but it's only 20%, and he can cast it 3 times, but it's only 20%, and it's only a 20% HP buff. It's only a heal, but it's 60% of your HP. So think about it. 5.5k HP, 60% of that is going to be quite a large amount. You're looking at like 35 plus. So you've got reduces the damage taken for both physical and magical for multiple hits. You can do this because he has a Spellblade sub-job as well. And one of these he can cast on other people here. So he can cast the physical barrier on other people, whereas Agrias will be able to do that with the magic side of things instead. So they all have their own different places. You see how I'm trying to mesh these together and show the differences between them all. And because the Warrior of Light's the only one that gets a Spellblade subjob, he's the only one that gets 38% flat magic resistance. They can buff himself and other people in cross AE. If you wanted to deal damage and build hate, he's going to get Taunting Spell. And then, of course, he's going to get a self buff for 50% of magic damage for 3 hits. That's in a sense, that's kind of some of the best things that he has going for him. Lots of little stuff. He's got Dragoon sub-job, so that's going to be situational. And also, on the other side, you have a Monk sub-job for Engelbert, which will also be situational. The thing that really sets Warrior of Light apart is that he gets a limit burst. It buffs him for protect and shell, and it's a 3-hit combo, and it's pretty nice. 165% damage mod, 38 AP. Not bad, is it? Range, it's across AE. I mean, that's a lot of good stuff for you. However, Agrias, what sets her apart from the pack here? She gets attack resistance of 15. Now, this is really, really fantastic because regardless of how much defense you have, how much spirit you have, this is a flat, roughly going to be like a 15% damage reduction for the damage that you take. It does work against both physical and magical damage. Yes, I did test this myself in case anybody wants to raise any questions about it. I'll do a video about that once I test some other stuff with that and some other things that are mechanics. I'm not prepared to do mechanic videos quite yet, but we're getting there. So that does have some weird interactions with some limit bursts, and that's why I'm not doing the video on that one yet. But ultimately, this is 50%, 15% for both physical and magical attacks, which is great. So even though if somebody does defense penetration, spirit penetration, that can take away from your defense. This is not going to take away from your attack resistance, which is great. So moving right along here, she's got some of the highest agility out of all of them. And I'll pop up an Excel sheet at the top of the screen showing everything at the end. Again, she gets Sword Guard, Paladin Guard, lots of good spirit and defense and HP buffs. She has a disability not disability, she has a debuff on almost everything that she does. Like I said, she gets a full break, and I've recorded this so many times, I thought that I'd already gone through this on this take, but she gets a full break, attack and magic debuff by 39%, and then 20 to debuff to both defense and spirit. Now, that is invaluable, I think, in just about every scenario. You know, she can buff a lot of different things. She can buff her teammates with a magical buff. This is what this one is a magical shield for 35%. She can also buff herself with a 50% physical shield because she also does get the Paladin sub-job. But again, she does not get the guts that Engelbert does. But she does get Sentinel, so she can be extremely tanky in that regard. So she also does get Taunting Blade, and that is her main source of aggro. And that is one of the downsides to her kit. Now, originally, she's going to start out about 30 AP. It fully maxed out. She's gonna start out about 30 AP with all for start with everything set up and everything, with everything maxed out, all resonance and Esper, so on and so forth. So moving right along, she's got 28. She's got a 36 AP ability she can utilize here to get an additional spirit for one turn. That's not probably going to be what you're going to do. You're probably going to utilize the regen for 10% for 3 turns. That's going to get you. So that's 28 TP. That's going to get you 14 AP, which is exactly what you need to do Taunting Blade on the following turn if you need to. So because of that, she's in a unique position where she doesn't necessarily absolutely have to have a Vow of Love card in all scenarios. You can build her to where you can, on the first turn, you're buffing, and second one, you got hate up, and it's a ton of hate up. Engelbert can also build AP at a decent amount, but he starts out a lot less, so he's going to be at a much lower position on the AP pool. So he's sitting around 26-ish AP to start out at max level and everything, and all of this will be verified once I show you guys the builds. But he doesn't have the only thing he has to actually build AP with is going to be his Saintly Wall, which is 40 TP each. It's going to give him 20 AP. He's going to be he's going to also be able to do that Taunting Blade, but he's so very slow. That's why I say Agrias is more of a unique position because she has more agility and she's going to get that second turn really quickly, whereas Engelbert's is probably going to get hit 3. So again, free tip. So hate 5 on Vow of Love, you get hit 3 times. That's 2 hate each hit. That you lose hate. So on the third hit, you've lost all the hate that you've gotten from the Vow of Love card that you're going to have to put on Engelbert. So with Engelbert, again, because he's so slow, that second turn comes around really, really slowly. He's gonna be sitting, unless you have somebody that's gonna like sacrifice Quicken or something like that, or you got a haste to help him out. He's really gonna be falling behind in that category. So that's one of the things he's got. That's a really, really. He really needs agility extremely badly. So another thing that Agrias is going to get for her is that she does have Cleric, so she can deal, various other kinds of damage if you need her to. She can increase light dark resistance, nullify some debuffs. And in her limit burst, this is where she gets that 67% chance to inflict confusion for 3 turns. It is 49 AP, so it's quite a bit, but it's in a line. It's a straight line for 200% damage, which is very nice. So you can throw a Vermilion sword on with her from Gafgarian, and she's got a very, she's got a pretty good chance to confuse some people. That's pretty nice, right? So moving right along here, let's talk numbers, and then let's talk builds. So first, I'm going to pull up the Excel sheet, and I'll show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. We're going to do the builds right after this, so if anybody doesn't like numbers, then you can go ahead with that if you want to. So I'm trying, I try to make this as straightforward as I can. I know I'm jumping around a lot, but there's kind of a flow to it. There's a method to my madness. So under the stats category, Engelbert, and also I'm going to give you guys kind of the key to this little whole diagram that I've got going on here. So if there's something highlighted in green, they are clearly the winner out of the 3 of that category. If there is in parentheses, if it says like plus 15%, 20%, those are the buffs that they get either from their master ability or their ability board. These are not support abilities. These are not passive buffs that they have in their kit. These are directly from their ability board or from their master ability. So Engelbert gets 15% HP, and he gets that directly from his not from his master ability, but from his ability board, and then he gets 15 defense from his master ability. So he gets that 15%. He's already at 3,300 HP, even though Warrior of Light also gets 15% to HP. Engelbert's clearly the winner there. TP and AP, not really as much of a big deal, because you're not going to start with the full amount of AP anyway, but it's about 26 on Engelbert and Warrior of Light, and then about 30 on Agrias is about the numbers, and we'll show you in the builds though. But Agrias has a ton more TP, so she can cast more TP abilities. Even though she's got some of her kit that costs 40 and so on and so forth, she can cast several of them before she runs out. Whereas the other two are sitting around 120 and 125. Attack wise, Agrias is clearly the winner. Both Warrior of Light and Agrias both get 20% to their attack. This is not including that, okay? These are the base bonus. These are the base numbers, including their base numbers, their ability board stats, and their job stats. But it's not including the bonus, like plus 20% to attack. This is just the attack plus, and then I should note that you have plus 20%. So Agrias clearly is the winner there. Warrior of Light is clearly the winner on magic, but he's not gonna really do a ton of magic damage. He does have Spellblade as a sub job, and you can utilize that to kind of do other things and keep hate and whatnot if you want to in an alternate way. But as far as like the magic damage goes, he's probably not going to have it. None of these guys are really going to have a lot of magic damage. Engelbert is clearly the winner here, is what I was talking about earlier. He's clearly the winner in terms of defense. He has a ton of defense passively. He's got a ton of defense fully buffed. He's sitting around 84 defense, 45 spirit, which is insanity. That's a very, very high amount of defense and a respectable amount of spirit as well. There's not once you run up and you hit that sentinel, and no one's gonna really do a lot of damage to you. So a Warrior of Light sitting at, again, I have 3 categories for this: defense and spirit, passive defense and spirit, which are including is support job abilities, and then buff, which is including the max buff that you can get in a quest. So you've got Warrior of Light is 13 defense and 6 spirit, 25 defense, 6 spirit at passive, and then fully buffed, he can be 38 defense, or if you take the passive counter to increase his defense by 10 for 3 turns, because he doesn't get an actual physical damage mitigation, you can increase his defense to 48, which brings us to the blue highlights. These are numbers that have some type of reaction ability or a specific support job ability that you can only take situationally. That's where I note that separately. So, and he's got 18 spirit there. So clearly he's not the winner there. And why is Engelbert not the winner? Let's get to Agrias and I'll show you. So she sits at 6 and 6, 18 and 18, or you can take the additional 15 spirit buff from Agrias down here in her kit. And I think you're always going to have this 12-12 agility and spirit. You're going to be basically using defense and HP, the spirit buff, or attack, depending on what your situation is. That's the way I always see this build going, because that agility is just so good. The ability to turn out another turn a little bit quicker, very valuable. And then of course you get that extra 15 spirit, puts over 32, or she can be at 63, and she can go up to 78. Now here's again, you're basically trading that either you're trading that defense, that 12 defense, or that 12 spirit. So either you can get up to 78 spirit on this and you're going to go down to 51 defense, or you can stay around 63 defense. But I just looked at the total between overall, and I think it was pretty close. But between the two, I think it was actually really close between Engelbert and Agrias. And although I gave it to Agrias, if you do the math on it, I think Engelbert's actually 1 or 2 points higher. But I gave it to Agrias And this is where I take a big look at her entire kit. I gave it to her because that's not even including her attack. Her attack resistance. She gets an attack resistance of 15. We talked about that. Warrior of Light gets that magic buff and dark buff for 12%. He can also buff the magic resistance by 38% if he wanted to. I didn't include that here. I included that under the group buff section. And then Engelbert does not get any additional resistances. Nothing else in his kit to increase resistances at all. Now, what do they get for shields? Engelbert gets a self shield for 50%. You have Warrior of Light gets a self shield gets a shield for physical 35%, magical 50%, one of which he can give to his party members again. And Agrias gets the flip of that. She gets 50% physical, 35% magical, one of which she can also give to her party. Agility wise, Engelbert's sitting at 37, and then 50, and then 60 for Warrior of Light and Agrias respectively. Agrias is clearly the winner here. You've got, I know I'm throwing out a lot of numbers here, guys. There's a point though. So you got me. Let's skip ahead a little bit. These numbers. I mean, I don't have to go through all of these, but you can kind of see who does what. Resistance wise, Engelbert has the best resistances for melee wise by a long shot, because his missile, his striking, his piercing, all much better than the others, and just slightly behind Warrior of Light in terms of slashing resistance. So his magic, however, is where he takes it. He's very much far behind. Agrias is a little bit better built for magic resistance. She's got 20% passively. Warrior of Light can have 5%, or he can have that additional 12% passive buff for magic, and that's that magic and dark resistance that I was talking about. And it's a 17%. So yeah, I didn't actually include. I did include it down here as a separate magic buff, but what this was from over here from his resistance section was from the support ability section. I got confused. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of numbers. I apologize if I confuse you guys. I'm probably going to confuse myself. So yeah, you can use this as a guide, I guess. And we'll get to builds here in just a moment. But again, counters. We talked about the counters. Agrias and Engelbert clearly have the better counters here. Taking a hit and then having an extra 10 defense is not as valuable to me as having an actual damage mitigation or an outright evade proc, because that additional defense, sure, that's going to help. That's going to roughly lower the next physical hit by roughly 10%. But what if you're going up against an opponent that has defense penetration? It's not going to be nearly as beneficial as a proc that lowers damage by a flat rate of a percentage. There's nothing that Engelbert or Agrias get in their kit for move or jump bonus. Warrior of Light can get a jump +1, so passively if he needs it, and that'll be situational. And then, of course, if you take Dragoon Subjob, he can get a temporary buff for move jump +1. Again, that'll also be situational. Again, Engelbert is the only one that gets a Guts. I'd put it down under group buffs, but it's self only. He's the only one that gets the Guts. Again, Agrias gets the 10% per turn regen. Engelbert gets the only HP buff, 20%. And of course, Warrior Light does get that HP heal for 60%, which is substantial, but it is not a buff. He does get a, if you look at his TMR, though, he does get that from his TMR. He does get a self 30% HP heal and HP buff from his TMR if you get that far, and it does auto restore TP for 10% for 3 turns. So it would kind of make up for his a little bit lower TP if you compare him to Agrias. But that said, those are some things to take into consideration there. So moving right along, again, you've got shields you can give to a teammate. Warrior of Light can give physical shields, and Agrias can give magical shields. And then here's down there the resistance buff. So group buff wise, Warrior of Light gives 38% magic buff. We talked about that. And then Agrias gives light and dark by 25%. So this is going to be situational, and it's really going to be your opinion which one of these 4 that you think are... I couldn't pick a winner here, because light and dark resistance is good for both physical and magical abilities. Magic resistance of 38% is very good and very high, but it's only good for magic attacks. So it's going to be more of an opinion-based kind of situation for those two as to which one's the best. So let's take a look at the builds here as to what I put together. And I am going to start off here with Vow of Love under the sub-job, or rather the vision card, the sub-job. The Vow of Love sub-job. It is magical. It is came to the game. It is, it's here. Yay, okay. We're moving on. So we are going to be using golden armor. We're going to be using Alexandrite rings for all of these builds. The golems and espers, the espers and the vision cards may change, and I may do some different stuff along the way. Golem, golden armor, shield for all of these, 18 defense, 2 spirit, going to be really good for you. It's going to be hard to pick something else other than that. You can go, if you're looking for a little bit more magic resistance, you can take the Armor of Light that's coming up in this event. However, Golden Armor is one of the best ones really to take as far as like just getting the highest defense. It's going to be 3 more defense than what the Armor of Light will be. And then in trade, you get an extra 4 Spirit under the shield section. This is under an AIM Alexandrite Ring. Now, I know that you've seen somebody else, I'm sure you've seen somebody else talk about the Alexandrite Ring, and I use it as well. It's just one of the best options here for mitigation because it takes 5% from all resistances. So anytime anybody's using an ability, it is going to help with the damage reduction. However, if you don't have that, there's a few other options that you can utilize. You know, you can utilize the Jeweled Ring. You'll get less accuracy, and you won't get that damage mitigation from the elemental resistance, but that is an option that may be more accessible to other players that don't actually have the Alexandrite Ring. And shame on you if you didn't do the raid. You really need to. I also didn't do much of the raid, so that's on me too. He is going to be Engelbert's going to be seeing about 6,300 HP, 444 attack, starting AP 26. See. And then you've got 72 defense, 2 spirit, 55 agility, 222 dex, 306 luck. And of course, this defense is going to be his passive defense. You can still buff your defense with Sentinel, still buff your spirit with Sentinel, and all of those things. The chart that I had was just with no gear, no equipment, no espers, no nothing. This is fully equipped and fully geared out. So keep that in mind. You'll end up going over 100. You'll end up going over 100 defense, and I'm pretty confident that over 100 is not going to do any good. So that's just not gonna fly. So you're going to be getting defense and piercing resistance up from this build because you're taking the Golem Esper here, one of the tankiest one. Now you could also take the Death Machine because you're getting defense, and you're getting missile resistance as opposed to Golem. So that's one of those things that I really think is a very big benefit to any tank, or any tanky kind of build or resistance or damage resistance build. He's going to be over 20 damage resistance with all types except for magic, and he's going to get 20 to his slashing attack as well. So that's pretty nice. That's really, really nice for him. Really high HP, really high defense. Again, he's kind of the defensive physical king as far as like taking hits, but you have Warrior of Light, which is a little bit more versatile, and there's a lot of options that we can take here. So to start out with, we can run any card we want to because we can self-buff hate, right? So the one I like to take is Realm Reaver Odin. So we max this bad boy out. We get 20 attack resistance, 10% human killer, a bunch of HP, a really good amount of attack, and he's going to help him out, and he's actually going to be able to deal a little bit of respectable damage because of this. He's going to have 58 defense, 8 spirit, but he's going to have that 20 attack resistance. Again, that's roughly an additional 20% mitigation. So that you're gonna have here, which is very, very nice, as opposed to something like, now you could run if you're free to play account, or if you don't have that, you don't have the Odin. I know a lot of people still don't. I didn't have him for the longest time either. I just recently got him, I think this last month when I was trying to pull for Rain. So that was a great reaction video, by the way. You should probably go watch that. But after this one, so Leona's Castle is going to give you 15 defense, 15 spirit, and also buff your party for 6 crit hit rate, which is nice. And you're going to be sitting around 73 defense, 23 spirit, which is a huge amount. He's got 59 agility, more agility than Engelbert. Again, 5,500 HP with that, 26 starting AP, and the dexterity and lux still very respectable for the both of them. But what else can you do here? So if you could go Vow of Love if you want to, just to make it a little bit easier, and then you could just continually buff your spell, buff your defense and everything if you wanted to do that. Or rather buff your shields and buff your teammates and focus on heals and whatnot. It'll give you an additional 5 hate to start out with, but it's not really needed. It's not really needed at all because on square one, you're gonna hit that self defense and spirit buff, and you're gonna get hate right away. There's no need to ever use the Vow of Love card. That's what makes this guy so versatile. So you could change out some of these other things if you wanted to. We'll get back to that. Agrias. So Agrias, I need to put the golem back on her. Is it clear that this is not my first take? So again, Golem, we're going to take as much piercing as we can, as much defense as we can, and we're going to go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and do 2% TP. Why not? Who cares? So I've used again the Odin card on Agrias. Now Agrias does not have the She doesn't have the... Darn it, what am I thinking of? Okay, so she doesn't have the initial hate up that Warrior of Light has. She doesn't have that going for her. She's got the Taunting Blade, but she can do that on turn 2, right? So that's something that if you and because she has such high agility, it is optional. So right now I've got her attack on. Let me turn that on to defense. So she's got 12% HP, 5,300 HP, 30 starting AP, 552 attack, 51 defense. So again, I put the defense buff back on there. 20 spirit, 74 agility, and respectable other stats. She's got 35 attack resistance with this build because she's taken the Odin card. Very, very nice. Very, very nice stats overall. You could take the Vow of Love card, and you're going to be sitting somewhere close to about the same attack and HP numbers. Let's just put it on there just for the sake of doing so, and then we'll go over to one other card. So again, we'll max that out, and she's sitting around again. So about 528 attack. Again, everything else is about the same. So it's a matter of just, do you want to have that initial hate right away, or do you want to go a different route with it? Now, here's what I was talking about. So if you want to run that agility, right? You want to run that agility build, and because we run, say, like you could run the Leon's Castle card again. Let's put that up there just for the sake of comparison for all three of them. She's sitting around 66 defense, so she's only a few defense away from the others. She's got much higher spirit, though. She's got much higher spirit than both of them, and her other stats are still respectable and comparable. She's sitting around 458 attacks, so this is the lowest that it's going to get out of all of these builds. Did I max this out? I did. So it's the lowest out of all the builds for her. It's the lowest that she'll go. However, we haven't even put any weapons on yet. Assuming everybody has the Vermilion for like Gafgarian, or assuming that's what we're going to use, that's still an option. But again, let's put Realm Reaver Odin back on here. And let's take a look if we were to actually change her from like an actual tank build to just a frontline fighter that can take a lot of damage, that may also be able to tank for us at the same time. So we're going to change this Golem out. So again, from 552 attack and 74 agility, we're going to go to Odin, and we're going to make it up to 10. We're going to max out the Esper. Going to take all this stuff here. We're going to actually take this away. We want as much slashing as we can get on here, and as much. So 25% slashing. We want all. We're 25% human killer rather, and then all this slashing, which should be about 15. And then you have the accuracy and the attack percent of 2%. Very nice. And then we're gonna sit at 83 agility, guys. 83 agility. 551 attack, 36 defense, 20 spirit. So less defense, less spirit, but she still has 35 of that attack resistance from hers and from the Odin card. So if you wanted to build her a little bit higher for attack, she can be a strong frontline attacker. She's going to lose a little bit of defense, 24 defense, 20 spirit. But again, she still has that 35 attack resistance. She's at 4,800 HP, 31 AP. She got an extra 1 AP from switching out the Espers and everything. She's sitting around 621 attack. Now, what if we gave her a weapon? What if we gave her a weapon? Let's just, for poops and ha-has, let's give her a weapon. Why not? 743 attack. Have I convinced you yet? Is it clear who I'm going to pull yet? I'm pulling Agrias. This is where I will give my opinion, and this is where I will tell you who I'm going to be pulling. I'm going to pull Agrias. I am pulling Agrias. I am not interested in Warrior of Light. I am interested in Death Machine, so I will be pulling on that banner, but I am not interested in Warrior of Light. I do not want to have him. I do not want to build him. I don't care for him. I am about, number one, having fun, doing interesting builds that I find interesting and challenging, and can fit characters that can fit multiple roles. Yes, I want a very strong tank, because once you have a very strong tank and you have the tank, and then boom, you can build a party around them. However, I think that Agrias has such good versatility and such good support and all these different, debuffs along the way. It makes her, for me, it's the clear choice for me. She gets that 50% additional chance to do confusion because she's using the Vermilion. She's got the chance to confuse when she's doing her limit burst. She's got a lot of different things going for her. I mean, you can see she has that agility. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying, is that it's not all about, to me, tanking is not all about just pulling, you being able to hit hate and hit defense and stand there. I want somebody who can kind of be a little versatile. That's why I like Mont a little bit better than I do Engelbert, although he's not much better. They're very similar, but I see him a little bit, and for me, for my preferences, I like him a little bit better. But again, we can throw the weapon here on all these other guys just so that we have, a comparison. So Vermilion for all of them, it's 569 attack for this. He can actually go up to about a little bit higher. Let's put Odin on there so we can compare it. So he's 663, which is somewhat respectable. So you can run a somewhat, decent build with Warrior of Light. He's not going to do a ton of damage, but he's going to be able to do a little bit of damage for you. And then you've got Engelbert. We can throw the Vermilion on him too. because we're already getting the accuracy from these other guilds or these other items. 566 attack, so he's got the lowest attack out of everything. But again, he's just got the highest defense, just by a long shot, just the highest passive defense, which is very good. But he's so slow. I don't like slow characters. I really don't. And I don't think that I could deal with having another tank that would just be really slow. I personally, I want Agrias. I'm going with Agrias. And that's the rest of the story. I'm Paul the ghost of Paul Harvey. Good day. A lot of you are probably too young to get that reference, but guys, thank you so much for being here. Let me know in the comments below, now that you've seen sort of a big picture and an objective look at all of these units, and I know it was a really long video, especially if you made it this far, let me know in the comments below. I greatly appreciate it. I like knowing those things, is that, you know, I can see the averages of how much is watched and everything, but I like to know how many people actually get there. So thank you very much, and let me know in the comments, are you going to get Agrias, Warrior of Light, Engelbert? Are you seeing any of these heroes, any of these units in a different light now as you were, as opposed to the way you saw them before? What did I bring to the table that you hadn't already heard or hadn't already seen? And what are some of the things that you saw that were similar, and how exactly would you build these units if you had them? And of course, guys, thank you so much for the love. I will see you guys in the next time. My name's Norgoz. Take care.